recording is on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga. And today I had some special requests out there from Liz McLemore. Thanks for the suggestions, Liz. We are going to be focusing on stretching out the medial glute, the top of the IT band. This muscle here is known as the tensor fascia lata. Also, we're going to move those stretches in a little bit towards the SI joint area. So these are common areas where we might have some strains or tension or a little bit of achy pain. So we're going to take some time to release those today. Also focusing on the hip flexor. That's all kind of related in this complex. So make sure that you're taking any modifications that you need today. I do have my yoga strap that we're going to be using for stretching and for balance as well. And then I have a chair close by. I'm going to give you some options with that. And then my yoga block as well. So we're going to actually start seated down onto our mat today. And maybe sit up onto a cushion if that feels better for your spine. And I just want you to notice where your pelvis is in space here. A lot of times when we're sitting, we don't realize it, but we start to slump in our back and our pelvis tucks under, and then we lose the connection with our core when we're sitting. So I'm going to just start to rock your pelvis a little bit forward and back. And you can even place your hands right here on your hips. And if you tilt your pelvis under, like you're slumping backwards, this is called a posterior tilt of your pelvis because it's tilting backwards. And then if we reverse that, we'll tip it forward. This is an anterior tilt. And I just want you to move back and through and back and forth between a posterior tilt and an anterior tilt. We can do this if we're sitting. We can also do it if we're on our hands and knees. It's kind of like cat and cow. We can do this laying on our back. We can do this standing up. So with those different positions, we might feel different mobility of our pelvis depending on the position that we're in. And one more time, we'll tilt back and then tilt forward, and then find your neutral, where you are right in the middle. And then we'll take our right hand, reach it up, and then across to the left knee. Looking behind you, rotate, gazing over that left shoulder. And just notice how your twist feels to this side this morning. Not super intense, just a nice gentle stretch. And then where do you feel this stretch? Is it moving into your mid-back, upper back, lower back, into your shoulders or your hips? One more breath. Nice inhale through the nose. Exhale, nose or mouth. And come back to the midline. We'll get that left arm up, stretch. Bring it across towards the right knee and rotate. Really important that whenever we twist, we have a really tall spine. So we just practice that anterior and posterior tilt of the pelvis. So make sure you're not slumping that posterior tilt or not arching your back too much with the anterior tilt. You're just right in that beautiful neutral position for you. And one more breath here. Exhaling and come back to the midline. Hands on top of the knees. One of my favorite warm-ups for the spine is to stir the pot. So we'll come side, forward, and around. And if cross-leg position doesn't feel okay for you, you can extend your legs straight out to the sides, in front of you, sit in a chair. Just make this feel comfortable for your body. Let's come one more time around this direction. And then pause at the midline and reverse, circling around. And when we begin our yoga practice, it's really about awareness of how our body feels today on the mat. oftentimes it's different than the day before. So just being aware and noticing, kind of diagnosing any issues that you might have today in your body. And then we'll come one more time around this direction. And back to the midline. Okay, sitting in a Z-sit, sometimes known as mermaid position in Pilates, we're going to take the left leg and bring it out and around to the side. And I like to sit my opposite hip up onto my blanket. Now your pelvis might not be neutral. That's okay. Wherever this position is for you is great. We'll reach the arms out, take a side stretch over, reaching as far as you can, and then pull it up. And if it feels comfortable for you, go the opposite direction as well. And just move this from side to side, stretching through the waistline, through the lat muscles. And if this Z-sit position doesn't feel okay, you can go back into a cross-legged or sit with your legs outstretched. And one more lateral flexion of the spine. And pull it up. Now bring that right hand down to the mat. Open out the chest. So I'm going to rotate my heart towards the ceiling and pull my arm back as far as I can. And then reach under and create a twist. We'll do this nice and slowly with the breath. Inhale, expand. Exhale and twist. 2 more repetitions. And one more time, breathe in, stretch up. Breathe out and twist. And breathe in, hold it at the top, and let's circle that left wrist around about 4 or 5 times. And then reverse circle. Just warming up through that wrist joint and the forearm. And then pull yourself up. We'll reach for this left ankle right next to the body and lift that leg up off the mat and pull it back behind you so you can open up this hip flexor. Right hand can stay to the floor for balance, or we can lift it up and extend through the fingertips. And I want you to squeeze and tense up your left glute muscle, the buttocks. Tighten it and pull your knee back a little further. And we'll hold here 2 more breaths. Just a gentle release for that left hip flexor. 1 more breath. And then exhale, lower the arm, release the ankle, and walk your hands forward out in front of you, lowering down onto the mat. A little gentle stretch for your right glute. So this is a modified pigeon. So we're just stretching the front leg. Nice and easy. You can bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. If you have that flexibility, just relax and breathe. Making sure you're not feeling any tension or pain in your right knee. Just a nice stretch through the hip joint. And then we'll inhale to rise back up, walk the hands in. And then we'll take the side leg and wrap it all the way around and try to cross it over the other knee. Now, if you don't have that range of motion in your hip, you can place the foot in front. And then we'll pull the knee in towards the opposite shoulder and then open the arm out, look behind you. A nice twist here and a really nice tall spine. And 1 more breath. And come back to center. So we're going to perform that action 1 more time, but to straighten out this leg, you might need your yoga strap under the bottom of your foot. So we'll lace it there and then extend this leg out to straight. If you have the flexibility and you can reach that foot with your right hand, you'll place the hand over the top of the foot, extend that leg out to straight, and then rotate again to that left side. Ooh, this is a much different stretch, and this is going to get the IT band, that muscle at the top of the IT band, and in through the outside of the hip, the medial glute. 2 more breaths. Inhale to lengthen the spine upward. Exhale to twist a little deeper. And 1 more breath. And then come back to that midline. We'll rebend the knee, releasing it. And then come into your Z-sit position facing the other way. So we'll bring the right leg out to the side. The left leg comes in front. Get yourself nice and comfortable here, long spine. Reach out, take a side stretch. Open up through the right side waist. And pull yourself up, going the other direction. And this can feel very different from one side to the other, as we have different muscular imbalances in terms of flexibility from one side of our spine to the other, or from one hip to the other. And 2 more. We can stretch a lot further over to the left side than we can to the right. Just be really patient with yourself. Find a nice comfortable range of motion. And 1 more. And then adding our twist, we'll bring the left hand to the mat, right arm reaches up, and we open back. So I'm trying to bring my heart right up to the ceiling, and then rotate, reach underneath the armpit, look behind you. And just using my left hand on the ground to provide an anchor. I can use it to create just a little bit of resistance for that twist. 2 more repetitions. Nice expansive breath. And 1 more. And reach it up, hold, rotate through your wrist 4 or 5 times, and then reverse. And then pull yourself up. We'll reach the right hand to catch the left or right ankle, same side. Pick up that leg off the mat and pull it back behind you. If you need a little help with balance, you can just place that hand right on the mat or reach it up. And then tense the right buttock. So we'll squeeze it, and as you tighten it, you'll notice that helps you to draw your knee back a little further into hip extension, to open up that hip flexor. And 2 more breaths here as we hold. And then we'll release that ankle, bring the hands right in front, and walk your body forward. And we'll take our modified pigeon stretch. And just ease yourself down slowly so you can find the range of motion that feels best for you. Maybe bringing the hands to stack the fists to relax your forehead. You can also use your yoga block there to support the head as well. Or coming all the way down, the forehead reaches the mat. And just checking in, making sure you're not feeling any pain in your left knee. Just a gentle stretch in the hip. And then on your next inhale, the head lifts back up. The hands walk in. And then bring this right leg around to meet the left. The soles of the feet come together for Baddha Konasana. And open up through the adductors, through those inner thighs. Nice long spine. And we fold over. Oh, I forgot to do my twist. Who was speaking that to me? I heard you. Yes, we have a twist to do on this side and an IT band stretch. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this right leg now and we'll bring it all the way across and sit in our twist. So again, the foot can come across the knee or we can bring it on the other side depending on the range of motion you have through this hip. Sit up tall, draw that knee towards the opposite shoulder and open out looking behind you. And again, we're focusing on the pelvis, making sure we're not slumped back in a posterior tilt, but we're lifted up and all the way through the top of the head. That lift continues to rise with each breath. And then we'll come back to the center and do the same stretch with the leg extended out. So if you need your yoga strap, you can just set it right under your foot and you'll hold it with the opposite hand so that you can extend that leg out to straight and then open back into your twist. If you're using your hand, place it over the top of your foot so you're grabbing on the outside blade of your foot, extending that leg long and rotate. So I'm using this left arm to pull my leg across to create that stretch. And I'm using the muscles of my obliques and back to create the twist in my spine. 2 more breaths. And once you complete that last exhalation, we'll return our body to the midline, rebend the knee and release. Okay, coming to your hands and knees. Bring our hands down just underneath the shoulders. And if you have problems with your wrists, you can come up onto your knuckles and make fists for wrists. And then tilting the pelvis again, we've got a posterior tilt to curve under. This is cat. And then an anterior tilt to lift the tailbone, drop the belly and gaze forward, our cow pose. So we can create a lot more range of motion with this now that we're kneeling and our sitting bones aren't onto the ground. So really find a nice range of motion, opening up through the spine tilt. And with the breath, we inhale into our cow and exhale the cat. 2 more repetitions. And one more time, breathe in, drop the belly down, tip the tailbone up. And breathe out, really tuck the tailbone underneath, releasing tension in your lower back. And then come to a neutral spine. Now extend your right leg straight back behind you. And we are going to extend the leg and then bend the knee behind the left knee. So I'm extending and reaching it out and then bending it behind. So when I do, I'm slightly opening up through the right glute. And we'll do 3 more. And 2. And 1 more time. And once you cross that knee behind, try to set it on the ground and then separate your feet a little wider apart. I'm kind of going to adjust my body sort of towards the middle of my mat. So my left knee is in front, my right knee is behind my left knee, and my feet are going to open out as far as they can in opposing directions. Now this might be as deep as you can go with this. I'm going to grab my block so I can have it ready to sit on. And then you are going to walk your hands back toward your feet. And some of you might be able to sit all the way down onto the floor with this. For my knees, I find that difficult. And then come up, and this is cow face. So if you can sit yourself all the way down to the floor, great. You also have the varying heights of your yoga block. So I can try to bring it down a little lower. And if this is not okay for you to hold this stretch, then you're just back up on your hands and holding it wherever feels comfortable for you. Now find that neutral pelvis, not slumped under. Nice neutral position. Now today with our cow face, I'm going to blend eagle arms. So we have the left knee on top. What we're going to do is cross the left arm on top and wrap into eagle arms. Or you can grab your shoulders here. Sit up super tall. And then begin to curve your elbows down towards your legs and round your back and really open up. Opening up through the lower back, through the SI joint area, the lumbar spine, also right between your shoulder blades. Now, if it feels more comfortable for you to sit straight up, you can do that as well. And we'll take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up, unwrap those arms, open out, extend through a nice chest expansion. And then bring your hands down to the mat and walk your body forward. Okay, so we need to unravel the knees here. So I'm going to come back to all fours. And then extend the left leg straight back. And then cross it behind the right leg. And extend it out. And cross it behind. Now, if you found it difficult to do the cow face position sitting, instead of holding that, you could do a few more of these. Whatever feels good for your body today. And let's do one more, extending that leg back. Cross it behind and see if you can bring both knees down to the ground. And then start to walk your feet away from each other. Yoga block is there if you need it to sit on. And walk your hands back any amount until you can come up into cow face. A block is a really nice tool to use if you have super tight hips. And then once you're here, we have the right leg on top. So the left arm crosses over the right. And we can hug the shoulders or wrap into eagle arms. And then last option is to round down, bringing your elbows down towards your thighs, dropping the chin to the chest and opening up through the mid-back, upper back between the shoulder blades, and into that sacroiliac region of the lower back. 2 more breaths. And then rising back up, unwrap the arms into chest expansion, pulling the shoulder blades back. And then bring the hands back down onto the mat, releasing the block if you're using that. And then we'll uncross the knees to come back to hands and knees position. All right, moving into down dog. Tuck the toes underneath. Pick the kneecaps off the mat and slowly lift the hips up. Feet are about hips distance apart, and then slowly pedal out your feet. So we're bending one knee, pushing the opposite heel down, and going back and forth. And then I want you to start to actually move your hips a little bit here. So as you straighten your left leg, push your hip out in that direction. And as you straighten the right leg, push your hip out in that direction. So you're slightly moving your pelvis from side to side. And let's do one more on each leg. Then hold both heels down. Keep pressing your chest towards your thighs and open up through the lats. See if you can lift your sitting bones up a little more. If you need to bend those knees, that's okay. And then bend your knees and either step or jump your feet right up towards your hands, coming into forward bend at the top of your mat. Bend those knees deeply, reverse swan dive, rising all the way up. And exhale into chair. So speaking of chair, I'm going to give you the option to use your chair to help you with a forward fold. Now, if you don't need that, you can also bring your hands down to your mat. So we'll inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale into forward fold. Option to have hands on the chair. Then step your right foot back, warrior one. So we'll plant that foot to the floor with your heel down and rise up to our warrior one. And for now, let's put the hands on the hips. We can press the right hip forward, draw the left hip back, and hold that nice stretch. And then interlace your hands behind your back, or you can use your yoga strap, which is really nice to have, to create some space behind you. And come into a nice chest expansion. So lift the arms up, open up through the heart. And then two choices, either stay upright with this pose or bow into humble warrior. We'll bring that right shoulder down or left shoulder to the left thigh and let the arms lift up. If we're coming forward into humble warrior, scoop the belly in and allow that stretch to occur in the lumbar area. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. The head is relaxed. And then slowly press into that front foot to lift yourself back up. And then unclasping the arms. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, reaching down either to the mat or to the chair. Step the back foot forward into forward bend. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, swan dive back down into forward fold. Hands to the mat or your chair. Step the left foot back into warrior one. And rise up. Hands come to hips. Press the left hip forward. The right hip draws back as we square off in this closed hip position. Hands behind the back or using your yoga strap. Come into chest expansion, lift the heart. And either remaining here or slowly bow into our humble warrior pose. Shoulder comes down towards the thigh, the arms lift any amount away from the backside of the body. And then scoop your belly in, almost like a little small C curve in the lower back. 2 more breaths. And press into that front leg. Use the strength of it to draw your core up. And release the hands from behind the back. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, reach down to the mat or to the chair. Step forward into forward bend. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, reach down to the chair or to the mat and step your right foot all the way back behind you into a nice deep lunge. Now I'm also going to have the opportunity to use my block here, and it's going to go underneath the right hand and then twist open toward the left side. And feel a little stretch right here to the outside of your hip. And then we can grow that stretch deeper into the IT band if we begin to straighten out the front leg any amount. So holding onto your chair is a really nice option. yoga block, another option, or if you can reach that hand all the way down to the floor to perform that pose, wonderful. Let's hold here 2 more breaths. One more, breathe in. And breathe out. Stay in the twist, just rebend your front knee. And then lower the arm down. Hands can go to the mat or to the chair. Step the back foot forward into forward bend. Inhale, rise up. Maybe a baby back bend this time. Exhale, reach back down to the chair or the mat. Stepping the left foot way back to a nice deep lunge. Option to bring your block underneath your left hand or to use your chair here in front of you. And we'll twist open. Now, if you tighten your left glute, you're really going to be able to release that, or you see your left glute. Yes, you'll release that left hip flexor in this stretch. Now, if you want to take it deeper in this outside hip, the right side, start to straighten out that leg any amount as you're holding your twist. So this is a modified revolved triangle, a really nice deep IT band release. 2 more breaths. And 1 more deep breath in. Exhale, holding onto your twist, just rebend that front knee. And then lower the hand down to the mat or the chair. Step forward into your forward bend. And inhale, rise up. And this time just pressing the palms together at the heart. So we're going to do a nice IT band stretch with a balance pose. There's a couple of ways we can do this. I'm going to have my yoga strap and my chair for a couple of options. Option number 1, bring your right foot up onto your chair and then loop your yoga strap under the bottom of that foot. I'm holding it with my opposite hand. I'm going to turn and stretch here. So I'm using the chair for balance by setting my foot on it. Then once I feel like I'm in control, I can lift that foot. Maybe I'm not in control. I can lift that foot up off the chair and hold this stretch. Another option is I can actually hold on to the chair for balance rather than using my foot onto the chair. So same thing here. And holding. So I'm bringing that leg across. A nice stretch for the IT band and hip. And wherever you are with this pose, even here just is fine. Let's hold a couple more breaths. Nice and long through the spine. And then come back to center. Go ahead and place your heel back on the chair and fold over this leg for a nice stretch. Now, if you don't have a chair with you at the moment, you can place your heel right down onto the floor or even place it up onto a block to give it a little bit more elevation and stretch over that leg. With or without your yoga strap for assistance. And 2 more breaths. And then slowly coming up, we'll repeat that balance pose to the other side. So the left heel goes out onto your chair. Option to place the strap under the bottom of your foot, and you'd be holding it in your right hand. So you have an opposite grip, and then lengthen the spine and twist open. So I'm rotating to my left. My left leg is out in front. If you feel like you have balance and control, you can lift that leg up and slightly draw it across your body. or you can hold onto the chair with the hand for the same pose. Down here is just fine. 3 more breaths, nice and tall. Really grounding into that standing leg. Abdominals are braced, our Uddiyana Bandha. 1 more breath. And come back to the center. Heel either on your chair or a block. Fold over that leg and hold your stretch. I love the chair for this hamstring stretch. Lifts it into a nice position, and then you can also place your hands down on it to brace, either to the seat of the chair or to the back of the chair is nice as well. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then bringing yourself all the way up and releasing the foot, coming back to the top of the mat in mountain pose. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. And then either step or jump both feet back behind you, come into plank. So either from the knees or the toes, hold this nice plank position. Now, one of the best strengtheners for our core is plank, and we can do it so many ways. If your wrists are bothering you, you can come down to your elbows. And we'll breathe 3 more breaths. Checking the position of your head, the alignment of your spine. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. And then if you want, you can set those knees down as we come into Chaturanga, lowering all the way down. And then make a little pillow for your forehead by just stacking your hands and relaxing so you can have your head in a nice neutral position. Then we're going to move into strengthening for the back, for the SI joint area. Keeping the forehead onto the hands, just pick the elbows up off the mat a little bit by strengthening through your back. And then lower down. So my forehead stays on my hands to keep my head neutral, and so I don't have the tendency to lift my head up and look forward, and then lower down. Let's do 2 more repetitions, picking up the elbows off the mat and down. 1 more time, pick them up and down. Now keep your left elbow in connection with the floor and just pick the right elbow up. And I'm turning and then down to the other side. Pick the left elbow up and down. This is a beautiful strengthener for the back body. Whatever range of motion is good for you here. And 1 more to each side. And then come back to the midline and relax. Now keep your left hand underneath your forehead. Bend your right knee and see if you can reach back with your right hand and catch that ankle. If it's not accessible for you to grab it, a couple things you can do. You can roll over onto your side, bring your knee forward so you can get your ankle, bring it back, and then you can roll back over onto your belly, or you can stay onto your side, or you can actually use your yoga strap and loop it around the ankle. And we'll hold this nice stretch for the quadricep. And then if you'd like to add some upper back work, the forehead stays on the left arm, and then lift the elbow up off the mat and set it back down. So we're doing our back extension. Lift and lower. 2 more. Up. And 1 more. And lower down. Release the right ankle. And then brace your forehead with the right hand as you reach back for the left ankle. If you can't grab it, roll over onto your side, get a hold of it, or use your yoga strap. And then if you can, roll back onto your belly. And we'll hold that stretch. You can remain still here or add the back work, lifting the elbow away from the mat and lowering down. And lift and lower. 2 more repetitions. Pressing the front of your right pelvis into the mat and your left pelvis and up. And let's get 1 more. And lower down, release. Now, if you can grab both of your ankles, we'll come into bow. So you reach back for both and hold here, lifting the chest up off the mat. If that's not accessible for you, come into locust. So the legs are long, the chest is lifted, the legs are up, and we'll hold 3 breaths in either one of those 2 poses. 2 more breaths. Nice strengthening for the back. And 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Release the feet. Slide the palms of the hands under the shoulders. Relax your legs and push yourself back into child's pose. Dropping the hips down toward the heels any amount. Nice counter stretch for that back work. And 1 more breath here in child's pose. And then we'll transition to laying onto our back. Make sure that you have your yoga strap close by before you go down, so you don't have to retrieve it once you get there onto your back. So 1 more stretch for that IT band, medial glute, tensor fascia bottom muscle. We'll take your right leg into the strap, extend that leg up, holding onto it with your left hand. Extend your left leg completely out onto the mat. Right arm is out to counterbalance. And then we'll bring the leg across just a little bit until you feel this stretch begin in the outside of your hip. And then slightly turn your toes in, like you're going into sort of a pigeon-toed position. And that will move the stretch down into the outside of your shin, into that peroneus longus muscle. And we'll hold here about another 30 seconds. Maybe you can take it a little deeper, but we're not allowing this hip to lift off the mat. So I'm not coming into a twist, just into that IT band stretch. Let's take 2 more breaths, nice and slow. And 1 more. Now as we come center, release the yoga strap. And earlier in class, we did a seated cow face. So now we're going to do that cow face laying on our back. So if you bend this right knee about 90 degrees, bring your right ankle over towards the left side of your body, and then bring your left leg underneath the right. So I have my feet moving in opposite directions and my knees stacking. Now, if you can, curl yourself up, see if you can reach for your ankles with your hands and separate them a little bit wider apart, and then lay your head and shoulders back down onto the mat. Now you might not be able to grab both of them. You might just be able to get the one that's closest to you, which would be the right one is on top. So if you can only grab one ankle, that's okay as well. Or use your yoga strap to help you get a hold of it. And then we can kind of play with whether the feet are down towards your glutes, whether they're up a little bit more, whether they're a little wider or more narrow, and find a stretch that works for you. We'll take 2 more breaths. All right, release those ankles, unwrap the legs, set your right foot down onto the mat. We'll go into the strap with your left foot for our IT band stretch. Holding the strap with your right hand, extend your right leg completely down. Open your left arm to the side and very, very gently, slightly bring that left leg across the midline until you feel that IT band stretch begin. And then turn your toes in. Feel that stretch move into the outside of your shin. And we'll hold here. No twist in the spine. Pelvis is as level as you can get it. Just the leg bone moving across. Now hopefully you can do this and get your leg completely straight. That's going to give you more effectiveness in this. But if you have to bend your knee a little, that's okay. It might diminish the stretch some. Take 2 more breaths. And then come back to center, releasing the strap. We'll keep this left knee bent. Bring the right leg up behind it, and then your feet move in opposite directions from each other. So if I reach with my right hand, that's my left foot. Same thing, if I reach with my left hand, that's my right foot. And see if you can reach up, grab those feet or ankles or somewhere along your shins, pulling your legs a little wider apart. Then lay the head and shoulders back down and relax into your reclining cow face. And then play with this position. What feels better? If your knees are more bent, a little more straight, further apart, find that sweet spot and stretch into the glutes. And that's okay if you can just get one of the legs. It might be the one that's on top, that left side. And if you can't catch either side, just hold the pose as it is and relax. 2 more breaths. And then release those ankles, unwrap the legs, hug knees right into the chest. And then we'll come into legs up the wall or legs resting on the chair. So if you'd like, and you have your chair close by, you can roll it toward you or scoot yourself towards it. And then relax your legs right up on top of the chair. If you've got a wall handy and you can slide your legs straight up the wall, even better. Take your time to find that comfortable position. Now, legs up the wall is so nice to move the blood flow from the legs back up towards the heart. Also, your lymphatic fluid, if you find that you've been kind of swollen in your ankles, if you're on your feet a lot, really important to do legs up the wall. So with either your legs on the chair or up the wall or just suspended up, flex and point your ankles. This can be done on the chair as well, just flex and point. Flex and point. Another thing you can do is to elevate your hips up onto a block so they're slightly higher than your heart, which will help that Venus return as well. Let's hold here another 30 seconds with ankle pumps. And then either keeping the legs nice and still, straight up against the wall, or relaxing on the chair. Let's close our eyes and bring our awareness to our breathing. Now, if you'd like, you can set your hands onto your belly. And as you breathe in, let the belly float up. Just like you're filling a balloon full of air. And as you exhale, let all the air out of the belly and allow it to flatten. And find an equal ratio breathing pattern, meaning the duration of the inhalation matches the duration of the exhalation. And if you'd like, you can even count the breath. So inhaling maybe 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Just find a pattern that works well for you. And as you breathe, relax the shoulders. Allow the backs of the hips to relax into the mat. And relax the muscles of your face, softening the forehead, smoothing out any fine lines or wrinkles around the eyes. Relax your jaw, maybe slightly separating your teeth. And we'll take 2 more slow breaths. Now, if you need more time today in legs up the wall, in meditation, in rest, just remain as you are. No need to start to rise. If you're following the sound of my voice, we'll inhale and stretch the arms above the head. And exhale to pull both knees in towards the chest. So either bringing them off the wall or off the chair. And just rock your knees from side to side. You can also move into happy baby, grabbing the bottoms of the feet, moving those knees from side to side. And then in your own timing, make your way to a comfortable seat. So you can do that by rolling over onto your side and gently pressing yourself up. And you can sit in your chair if you like, or in a comfortable cross-legged pose. And sit tall, finding that neutral pelvis, not posterior or slumped, not too much anterior, but balanced right in the center. And we'll take a circle with the head, right ear towards the right shoulder, chin towards the chest, left ear, left shoulder, and back up to neutral, reversing, left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest, right ear, right shoulder, and head to neutral. Press the palms at our heart center, and closing the eyes, bring our awareness inward. And we pause to express our gratitude and our honor with our Anjali Mudra. As we close our practice, it's customary to end with Namaste, which translates the light that resides within me honors the light that resides within you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you can log on tomorrow morning for our cardio strength class. And if anybody wants to stay on for a minute or two, I'd love to chat and see how your practice was today. And thank you so much for joining me and supporting Lisa's